But first, where I've been. So, a couple weekends ago, I was doing boring father things over the weekend, and out of nowhere, I took a nasty fall and I rolled my ankle, and I have not been able to walk or really do anything since those 2 weeks. For context, my office space is downstairs in the basement of my house. And I couldn't go up and down stairs at all, not with this thing. So I had to I had to be on bed rest. And now I'm able to move around, and I still have a limp. I'm still limping, but now at least I can move and, more importantly, get back to work and do this stuff. Problem is, this is not how I wanted to come back. Oh man, this is gonna be one hell of a 2025, isn't it? I haven't seen a stock market drop like this since 2020. And out of my history of investing personally, me being an investor over a decade now, I've never seen my portfolio personally take a hit like this so hard. And I was around for the 2020 pandemic, and I was also around for the 2008 crash. And this today was the worst, and what feels to be like the most self-inflicted. And there's a lot of uncertainty that's happening here, and I understand that. I understand the confusion. And my gut reaction right from the offset here, I want to say stand your ground. If you're an investor, just keep dollar cost averaging, DCA. Don't worry too much about what's happening, because short-term movements don't affect the bigger picture here, right? So as an investor, even though my portfolio is completely into the red, except for my little T-Mobile stock that I own, out of everything, my T-Mobile is the only thing that's in the green. I'm not too worried about that because I'm not retiring this year or next year. I don't need that money right now, so I'm not too stressed about that. I'm going to keep buying the tech index. I'm going to keep buying the S&P 500. I'm going to keep investing in individual companies that have my interest in the tech space. But as a consumer, I think we're in for a wake-up call. I mean this as literally as possible. I think the shit's about to hit the fan. And these tariffs that went into effect on the 2nd are even worse than what was being predicted. We thought there was going to be some targeted areas. No, everybody, reciprocal tariffs are happening. Now, I am of two minds of the tariffs here, because I understand what Trump is doing. I know why he's doing this. My fundamental disagreement here is that the world that we live in, the economy that we live in the United States, is that of a global market. It's not a US market anymore. Even if the companies are headquartered here, like Apple, Microsoft, you name it, everybody, every known name is headquartered here. They are not restricted to our continuous 48 states, and not on this continent. They are ever reaching around the world. Everybody uses these brands. The prices that we have now are as cheap, in context, they're as cheap as they are because of the global market. We all know about Foxconn, for example, and the people that make these phones, and they're as cheap as they are relatively because Apple has outsourced the manufacturing. And what Trump wants to do globally is bring all the US jobs back here. So manufacturing, he's really hyped on that. And here's the thing, Americans don't work for cheap. You might say I'm not getting a fair wage and all that and the other, and we can get into the nuance and the minutia of that. But effectively, when you compare us to the global market, how these companies have been operating, America runs expensive. We do charge a higher rate than those pennies on the dollar equivalent when we outsource those things. Trump wants to bring the jobs back here. And if that were to happen, and I'm not saying it's not, if that were to happen, that means Americans are going to get back to work and start doing manufacturing. Now let's see this through. If that's the case, are you going to take below minimum wage? Because that's how much it costs overseas right now. No, I wouldn't. And I shouldn't. And you wouldn't, and you shouldn't either. But then that comes at an inherent cost. Now, not only are the taxes of everything outside coming in going to go up, which means the prices are going to go up, but if we were to make it here, the pricing of these products here will most likely also go up. So I understand bringing work here, but everything's going to get more expensive. Buying your stuff is going to get more expensive. There's still going to be a sales tax, and unless you live in one of the states that doesn't do a sales tax. But everything, prices are going to go up. And the only way I could see things getting out of that is if Trump brings these tariffs down, because the other countries will bring their tariffs down. I don't know. I'm not an economist like that. I don't really know how this will play out. But I do know, at least in my own anecdotal evidence here, that in the short term, we're going to feel the stressors on this. Automobiles are already about to get more expensive because most of them do get imported. So those prices are going to go up. I have a story about that for another time, but I went to a Volkswagen dealership recently. I got to drive the ID Buzz, and they told me that if I wanted to get this car locked in at this price, which was $75,000, that I should do it now because prices are going to inevitably go up because of these tariffs. I like Volkswagen, don't get me wrong. I used to own a Jetta, but the ID Buzz is not worth $75,000 to begin with, so no thank you. This is going to affect many more people than the companies or the individuals that are not going to be affected by this. And I don't know what the right answer is, but I do feel like this wasn't the right move. And the market right now is responding as such. But my investor brain is coming in, and now that all these prices are significantly lower, I'm going to buy more of these index funds and individual companies that I own, because my fundamentals on these companies, their business analysis, those haven't changed. So just like I did with Tesla back in 2020, well, actually I bought Tesla before 2020, but I bought more of it in 2020. Just like I did with Tesla then, I bought a lot of stock and then I cashed out just last year, at the end of last year. I'm going to do something very similar this time around, because these prices are also, for me looking on the outside looking in, these prices are on sale right now. And the economy will bounce back. Somehow, some way, we do find a way. This isn't the end of the U.S. economic system by any means. This is Trump doing what he does, and what I feel he's doing is negotiating on a world scale. And he's using these other world leaders to negotiate with him, because he shines best when he negotiates. At least that's what's being projected. So there's that. And also, if I had tinfoil, I'd put it on. There's also a possibility that Trump is trying to manually bring interest rates down, because the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said he's not going to cut the interest rates as often as we were expecting, or as quickly as we were expecting. Neither of those things are happening. So interest rates are still high, and the market, for what it is doing well. So by crashing the market, the theory is that will force the Federal Reserve to also cut interest rates and then make things cheaper here as well, which is a theory, I guess, but I don't know. When it comes to buying tech, because I know this channel is more focused on the tech stuff, I don't know what that means for Apple. They make all their stuff overseas. I don't know what that means for all these big companies. But I do know, as an investor, I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to dollar cost average, and I'm going to buy a little bit more than usual because things are on sale. And as a consumer, I'm going to wait. Like, there's not much more I can do. If anything, I'm going to say the used industry is going to see a lot more traffic now. But when it comes to buying products that we've been buying all this time and now they're about to go up in price, I don't know. I'm being discouraged to now buy an iPhone 17, possibly. I'm being discouraged to buy a lot of things, and that's fine. I got the bare essentials to make things work here, but it's not looking good, at least not right now. But I do hope things turn around. I am optimistic of America's future. I'm still rooting for America first, but this is not how I would have done it. But the truth is, what do I know? I don't know how to make it right. So good luck out there.